Empire of the Ants, released July 29th, 1977, directed and co-written by Burt I. Gordon, the other co-writer being Jack Turley, stars Joan Collins. The movie literally opens with a lesson about ants. It's like, okay, I guess this is pretty useful. But then there are dudes in like red-orange jumpsuits in the middle of the ocean, and they're dumping radioactive waste into the ocean. And we know that this is radioactive waste because the barrels literally say radioactive waste on the side. And that's literally the entirety of the opening credits. We get it. There's a company that's really, really shitty, and they're dumping chemicals into the ocean. We get it. The credits end when one washes ashore and starts leaking like this silver liquid. There's then a very long 5-minute sequence of people just boarding a boat. They're going on a tour of some of the island that the barrel just happened to fall and leak on. We cut to some black ants. They're like hanging out in the silver liquid. So it's like, well, there's our giant ants. On the island, Marilyn Fraser, played by Joan Collins, she's trying to sell these people on the island. This is going to be this is going to be that, this is going to be this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And there's also French flags literally everywhere. Collins' American accent, pretty solid, but there are definitely moments where her British accent slips out. The giant ants finally appear. Very exciting. Not really. They appear, and Tom Lawson, played by Jack Coslin, tries to beat them with a PVC pipe. And if you know what a PVC pipe is, it's not going to do anything. Like if you hit a person with it, it's gonna leave a mark, it's gonna leave a bruise, but it's not gonna do any serious damage. And then there's his wife, Mary, played by Isle Lur. She just stands there screaming "Mom" until she's attacked. It's like, well, maybe you should have ran away, Mary. Where's that couple? Nobody cares. The tour continues. It just continues. But then there's a problem because they find a handyman dead on the side of the road. Or well, we see his foot. We don't see his body. It's just his foot. So as far as we know, it's literally just a foot. The ants ate the entire body and left his foot. There's more ants, and they are very, very clearly crawling on the side of like an ant farm. It's pretty bad. It's like close-ups of the ant farm and them climbing all over it. Then it was superimposed onto the film, and it looks very bad, even for 1977. The ants attack the boat, and our captain, Dan, played by Robert Lansing, he sets fire to his own boat. And the whole thing is, they don't like fire, that's for sure. And the entire time we're watching this boat be on fire, the ant is just hanging out on the roof of the boat. It's not afraid of the fire. It's not jumping into the ocean. It's not trying to jump back onto the dock. It's hanging out in the fire. Doesn't care. So they light a fire on the beach, but of course it rains, and more ants come, and they humorously run away. At which point Marilyn, she manages to run into a literal twig. Like, a twig. And it goes through her bicep. Weak-ass biceps, Marilyn. Weak-ass biceps. So her assistant, Charlie, played by Edward Power, he helps her. Saves her, in fact. So to repay him, she pushes him aside. He hits the ground. He gets eaten by ants. And then later she's like, oh my God, where's Charlie? I can't believe he's dead. Like, bitch, you killed him. There's a random rowboat in the swamp, and everybody who's alive is there except for this older couple. Nobody knows where they are. So we cut to them, Harry and Velma Thompson, played by Harry Holcomb and Irene Tedrow. They're hiding in a shack. It's super quiet. It is so quiet. So they're like, we're good. Let's get out of here. So they exit the shack, and all of a sudden it is just so disturbingly loud because the ants, they are surrounding the shack. The shack itself, apparently, very soundproof. Then there's a whole lot of nothing. It's just them rowing and rowing and rowing and rowing through the swamp. At one point, ants do attack, they beat them away, and then they just row away. Out of nowhere, another shows up, capsizes the boat, and eats one. Sure, why not? And Marilyn proudly proclaims, This river leads nowhere. It's like, well, all rivers lead somewhere, Marilyn. Shut up. They come across a random old couple who are absolutely surrounded by barbed wire. Call the sheriff! This island is inhabited. Marilyn is trying to sell these people an inhabited island. The old woman, played by Florence McGee, whispers to Corinne, played by Pamela Shoop, whatever you do, don't let them take you to the sugar refinery. So not only is this island very much inhabited, it has a gigantic sugar refinery. So, shocker, the cops chase them and brings them to the sugar refinery, where they have the queen locked in a room and she is just squirting her pheromones on people. It's so stupid. I love it. The whole thing is like, okay, they're superior, so we should be working for them. It's like, okay, or you should just use the firepower you have at the sheriff's station and shoot them all in the head. Captain Dan happens to have a flare and manages to beat her away. Chaos ensues. The queen's in trouble. I forgot. We see like all of the ants on the island go into the sugar, into this giant like mountain of sugar that's like hanging out in a hangar. So it's like, all right, convenient. They are all in one place now. Great. So back to the thing. The queen is in trouble. Like, she's making all these noises, but her army don't give a shit. They're just having a sugar orgy. And then the sheriff, who just got done talking about how superior they are and how we should be serving them, starts shooting the queen. It's like, you should have been doing this from the first place, bro. Joe, played by Joan Collins, opens a gas truck, drives around the hangar, and then into the hangar, where the gas truck just randomly explodes. Like, there's no spark. Nobody throws a Molotov at it. Nobody lights a match or a lighter. It just explodes. Whew. The acting in this one's pretty meh. That's to say the least. A few of the actors have their moments, but overall the dialogue is pretty dumb. The ant special effects is very bad even for the time. The forced perspective of filming the ant farm up close and then superimposing it onto the film of our live actors, like it's kind of like an early form of green screen, but it's done just so incredibly poorly. The ant props themselves, those are pretty good. When we actually see an ant attack somebody, it's like a giant ant puppet. Those are actually pretty good. But that's really about it. The story devolves into an absolute mess. What starts as like a stark warning about the dangers of illegally dumping toxic chemicals into the ocean becomes a lame creature feature. Also, back to those French flags, everybody on the island has American accents. So it's like, why are there French flags everywhere? D-. Thank you for watching Fatman Inc. Craptacular Horror. Leave a like if you enjoyed and a comment to discuss your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe to see more reviews of horror movies new and old. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.